Meet Stuart Mack, a Lance Corporal in 243 Provo Company, 1 Royal Military Police. He's into bikes in a big way and is making waves in extreme enduro. But what is extreme enduro?
Well, yeah, like a lot of people know as motocross, which is obviously a 2 minute lap in a course with big jumps and fast turns. And then normal, so there's two types of enduro. There's time card enduro and then extreme enduro. So normal enduro will consist of a big, massive lap where you're timed, but you've got to get round the lap within a time. And within the lap, you'll come to a special test. And in that special test, you're timed. So you might do like 5 laps, and every special test is timed. And then all the special tests will be added up at the end of the day to see who has the fastest time throughout the day. But extreme enduro is different again. So this is where it helps me from my trials background. I have a very good skill level and technical of riding over rocks and uphill climbs. So extreme enduro is basically a multi-lap format. So the British Championships can be 15 to 20-minute laps, and we'll race for 2.5 to 3 hours. A lot of the times 3 hours. And it's basically a multi-lap format, and you just start, and then it's whoever can get the most amount of laps. But the reason it's called extreme enduro is because it's pretty extreme. There can be like a lot of big hill climbs, rock gardens, big rock steps, massive logs. Like, you have to have a very good technical ability, but obviously the distance, you have to be really good endurance and then strong as well.
Now, you have a background, I think you started in trials riding, which is clearly a very important part of what you have to do. Has that really given you the impetus to go on and do this form of enduro motorcycling?
Trials, I wouldn't say I sort of peaked, but I got to a sort of point where trials is quite a niche sport, and it's quite hard to get to the top level. Like, there's a lot of technique and a lot of fighting and stuff to get to the top ranks in trials. There's only sort of the top 5 and 10 in the world make a wage out of it, really. So yeah, I was in the British Championships. I was fighting to get into the top 15, and could never really just break that top 15. And then my sponsors mentioned, do I want to go into enduro? So I got an enduro bike, and then it was just sort of went from there.
It's not all been plain sailing. Earlier this year, he suffered a literally eye-watering groin injury competing, requiring urgent surgery. But last time out, he won the 3rd British Championship event. Enduro is popular in the forces, with the likes of Tom Elwood, trailblazers in the sport. This weekend, Stuart's racing in the Scottish Enduro Championship to get some higher speed work under his belt. But next weekend, a good result in the final race of a shortened extreme season could see him crowned British champion.
So yeah, literally every day during lockdown, I'd be training twice, maybe 3 times a day, doing big cycles in the morning, weights in the afternoon, and then a lot of ab work, and then a lot of work on my back, because I found I'm 6'5", so being a tall rider, I get a lot of problems in my back, and I have quite sore backs towards the end of the race, and it can let me down. So I worked on a lot of that problems, and then at the weekend it paid off, and we managed to finish P1 in the experts, and then 6 overall. So even beating some professional riders, so putting us in very good stead to move up to the pro class next year. So
Stuart's already been handed a TAS, Talented Athlete Scholarship Scheme, by the Army, which will give him access to high-class training, fitness and nutrition. But to take his riding further, he'll need sponsorship. For now, though, he's aiming to be the best of British in this toughest of motorsports. John Knighton, Forces News.